More news from the DUI state. Hawk.
As of a couple days ago, they're like, we're impeaching her, we're impeaching her, we're impeaching her. And now this is a total 100% about face, where they want nonpartisan districts for their state house and their state senate. That is stunning.
Now, I think this needs a bit deeper dive. If you don't know what he's talking about Janet Protasewicz, the newly elected Supreme Court judge in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a heavily gerrymandered state held by the Republicans. Janet ran her campaign on being pro-women's health care and pro-independent fair voting districts. And Republicans, who hold a supermajority in their state legislature, were not a big fan of the idea of having her being deciding to vote on ruling their gerrymandered congressional districts and their abortion bans as unconstitutional. So they tried moving forward with an attempt to impeach her, despite not having any precedent or grounds to do so. Turns out trying to undemocratically oust an elected official months after she gets elected by a huge percentage point, 11 points, was causing Wisconsin Republicans to experience a little bit of backlash. And now, as Hawk points out, they backed off that and are in favor suddenly of having a free, fair, independent council draw the voting districts in Wisconsin. And though that sounds great, their plan is far less benevolent than it would sound, and it's probably worse than had they just went forward with the efforts to impeach. And here's why. The impeachment card was the wrong Uno card to play from the beginning. It was a wildly unpopular, blatantly corrupt move, and gerrymandering can only protect you so much. And even with their supermajority, they likely didn't have the votes to actually pull it off. But whether or not they would be successful with their impeachment efforts and their short-term legislative goals or not would still come with massive collateral damage. But if they don't impeach her, then they almost certainly lose the gerrymandering case that's going to go before the Supreme Court. That happens, now there's a legal precedent against gerrymandering in Wisconsin, and they have much more permanently lost their ability to rig elections in their favor. So now Republicans in Wisconsin are in between a rock and a hard place if they want to keep cheating. I mean, they could try legislation that's actually popular, but, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So instead, they pull this ace out of the hole. They themselves write a bill on gerrymandering that says, hey, we're going to have an independent council draw our districts, so it's fair. Now suddenly the court case about their rigged districts doesn't go before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court can't rule on it. There is no legal precedent on the constitutional legality of gerrymandering in Wisconsin. Right there is their main motivation. This mitigates in the best possible way a major setback for them with their gerrymandering goals. But it's even more sinister than that, because they don't need input from Democrats on how this or any bill is written for that matter, because they have a supermajority. Even if their Democratic governor, Tony Evers, vetoes it, they can override that veto on any bill. So they can write this independent voting district bill however they want and give it as much or few teeth as they want. And that's exactly what they did. They gave it absolutely no teeth. They made it so the controlling party, in this case the Republicans, can amend these, nonpartisan districts however they see fit. Which means the independent committee who draws the districts is doing nothing more than just suggesting districts that the Republicans can throw out and redraw however they please. This buys them a lot of time to figure out how to continue cheating, and probably some good PR because it looks like they're doing the right thing from the outside until you actually read the bill. How it's going to play out, I don't know. The Democrats are pretty powerless to stop it. What they really need to do is make very clear what the Republicans are trying to do with this, so nobody's disillusioned as to what they're doing, and hopefully lose them some seats still. Perhaps they can try to stall the bill or amend the bill, but either way, they'd probably need some Republicans to cross the aisle to accomplish either of those things. I really don't know what the answer is. What I do know is that the ideal outcome, the ideal solution, is that the maps stay exactly the way they are. The lawsuits against those maps get heard by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rules that they are, in fact, unconstitutional. And then there is a legal precedent against gerrymandering in the state that cannot be so easily undone. But unfortunately, Hawk, this is not a cave by the Republicans in Wisconsin. This isn't a backpedal. This is absolutely a calculated move by the Republican Party to maintain their ability to gerrymander the state of Wisconsin as much as possible and to prevent the court's ability to check their gerrymandering power. So while the impeachment efforts seemed bad, this in practice is probably worse. So once again, people in Wisconsin, call and write your representatives. Let them know that if they support this, you will be voting for any primary challenger they ever have, and you'll be voting against their party in every general election. And of course, get out and actually vote. Gerrymandering needs to end, and it needs to start ending now with Wisconsin.